Hey, it's John from That DIY Couple. I recently bought a property that was entirely free. I bought an income generating property for no dollars. And when I say income generating, I mean a lot of income. I made over $60,000 on this property in 2020, pandemic 2020. I'm not talking about buying a property using 100% leverage or some sort of exotic loan program. I literally spent $0 out of my own pocket to buy this property. And I actually do this all the time. Here's how I did it this time and how you can do it too. About 2 years ago, I started looking for an income generating property in the Bungalow Park area of Atlantic City. I really like that area because it's close to the ocean and close to the boardwalk. It's also relatively close to the casinos down there, but not too close as to be disruptive. It's a nice residential neighborhood and prices are cheap. I also know that I can rent out the houses for a lot of money on Airbnb because I have some other properties already in that area doing really well. I knew I wanted something that needed renovation, but wasn't so bad that I had to rebuild it entirely from scratch. Something like $100,000 in renovations was my maximum, and I wanted it to be ready for renting on Airbnb by the summer of 2020. So the renovations couldn't take really all that long. I also wanted it to be at least 3 bedrooms, preferably 4 bedrooms, and at least 2 bathrooms. In December 2018, I saw a property listed on the MLS, the multiple listing service, for $56,000. It mostly met my criteria, but it was only 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. By June 2019, the property still hadn't sold and they'd reduced the price down to $51,000. Something that caught my eye about this property was that the real estate agent said in the listing that the owner had already gutted the entire property and started renovations, meaning that all the walls were down, but the property had framing in place for the 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom layout that was described in the listing. I sort of reluctantly went to see the property in early June 2020, and I realized that the owner and the real estate agent had made a huge mistake. The layout of the property was very bizarre. It's true that there were 2 bedrooms, but the 2 bedrooms were enormous. Both of them were on the 2nd floor. There were 2 bathrooms, also both on the 2nd floor, and on the 1st floor, there was a huge open living room, kitchen, and dining room, which was way too big for a 2-bedroom house. I knew that I could turn the house into the 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house that I wanted with some layout changes, make a bedroom and a bathroom on the 1st floor, and convert the bathroom on the 2nd floor into a small bedroom with some room from one of the other really big bedrooms. The owner and the agent had picked a price that was appropriate for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom property, but not a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom property, which is what I was going to make it into. Because no one had realized that this 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom property could have an additional 2 bedrooms in it, I knew that I had a huge advantage. I also assumed that the owner was desperate because the property had been listed for 7 months with no offers, and they've been reducing the price pretty much every month. So I made an offer, all cash. I said I'll close with no conditions, no inspections, no issues other than you conveying me clear title for $35,000 within 30 days. And they accepted it. I made the offer in early June 2019, and I closed in the middle of July 2019, about 30 days later, keeping my word, no inspections, nothing like that at all. If you're confused because I just said I paid $34,000 for the property, and I said I was going to tell you how I bought a property for $0, I will get to that, but it's important that I explain the whole process of the story. It'll make sense at the end. As I said, because the house was gutted, and I was changing the layout, I needed to do some serious work to it. I didn't have to replace the roof or the windows or really anything in the exterior, which was a huge win, but I had to do basically everything new on the inside. So that means new plumbing, new electrical, HVAC, walls, flooring, kitchen, cabinet, bathrooms, basically everything. I spent about 7 months and about $85,000 improving it, making it into 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and everything was essentially brand new, totally renovated by my crew. That means that I was all into the property for $120,000. That's my $35,000 purchase price plus my $85,000 renovation. This is where the magic of real estate and real estate finance happens. So instead of a disastrous 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, I now had a completely renovated, nearly brand new 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, ideally located Airbnb property that I knew was worth a lot more than what I had paid for it about 7 months before. I went to a bank and told them that I wanted to get a mortgage. If I had had a mortgage originally, what I was doing would be called a refinance, but because I bought the house with cash, I was now getting a financing, a new mortgage on the property for the first time. The bank was giving me a new loan based on the market price of the property at that time, so 7 months later. An appraiser determined that the value of my property was $175,000. Now, this is a great win. Remember, I bought the property for $35,000 and I put $85,000 into it. Because my house is now worth $175,000, I've just made about $55,000 in equity in 7 months. And even better, because my property is worth $175,000, my bank was willing to give me a mortgage of $135,000, which is 75% of the value. But because I own the property in cash, the bank actually gave me $135,000. Now, that may sound insane because it sounds like the bank is paying me money to go into debt, but I will explain. So I own a property worth $175,000 free and clear without any debt. I want to get a mortgage, meaning that I want the bank to loan me a portion of the money of how much the property is worth. It's just like if I were buying any other house that costs $175,000, except in this case, I already own that house. In a normal property transaction, the bank would put up 75% of the purchase price, and I would put up the other 25% as my down payment. Here, though, because I already own the house, I'm exchanging that 75%, $135,000 for debt. That means that the bank wrote me a check for $135,000, and I kept the remaining amount, that 25%, in the property as my equity. If you originally remember, I was originally out of pocket $120,000 to buy and renovate the property, but I just got a check for $135,000. And if you count closing costs and other fees and all that other stuff, that means that after 7 months, I'd invested exactly $0 in the property. In fact, I might have even been negative a few $1,000s, meaning that I actually made money on the property by owning it for 7 months and renovating it. And here's something really cool too. In 2020, after I'd financed the property, got it ready to rent out, paid the mortgage, taxes, and everything else I needed for that year, I netted $20,000. So I made $60,000 in revenue, and I put $20,000 in my pocket after all my other costs. It's not really $0 because I had to invest money before I could get it back. Well, sure, that's correct. But all you really care about in real estate investing is the return on your initial investment. My return on my investment here is essentially infinite. I had already took out the money that I put in, and I can now use that to invest in something else. And to answer another question that you might have about this type of investment, isn't this really risky? No, not really, because if you look at my numbers and my cash flow numbers, I can easily pay back the mortgage every year that I have on the property. In fact, in 2020, I made $20,000 more than the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and everything else that cost me to own and maintain the home. I'm not speculating on the value of the property going up. I'm also not relying on the property making any more money than it currently does. In fact, it make a lot less money than it currently does, and I would still do okay every year. So unlike flipping or some other types of investing, I'm not really counting on anything happening. That's really the name of the game in real estate investing. It's finding a good deal because it's undervalued in some way. In this case, it was because no one knew that it could be a 4-bedroom property. I added value by renovating it. I took advantage of cheap money in the form of a mortgage from a bank, and then I rented it out for more than the cost that I paid every month to maintain the property. Oh, there's one more important thing, which was that I actually didn't put down $35,000 and $85,000. I used money from other people, from investors, to do that. And then I paid them back after the property refinanced. So that's a topic for a different video as to how I did work with investors to really put $0 down out of my pocket. But I hope this video was helpful to you. I love talking about real estate and real estate finance. If you thought it was helpful, please let me know in the comments, leave a like, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Oh.